and gentlemen, let's go. Lifestyle, wellness, and a damn good time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Hit it. You're listening to the Holistic Life Podcast, presented by Say What Radio.
Welcome to the Holistic Life Show. I'm Jenny, with a whole new way of it starting. See, there's another snuff. Y'all, I bet you're going to be looking forward to this. Like, how many different ways can this show start? Why don't you give it a shot?
I've done it.
Yeah, but then you do it and you're like, welcome to the... Wait, what show are we doing?
I've only done that once.
What are we talking about today? Wait, are we even on the podcast?
I've never said that. I've never said, are we on the podcast?
Okay, maybe not verbally.
No.
But body language-y.
No.
So anyways, I'm Jenny.
I've definitely said...
I'm trying to move on.
What are we talking about? Oh, you started this. Nope. Nope. Lean into it. Nah, I'm going to need that same energy right now. I'm trying to shut me up. I've moved on. No, fuck that. Lean into it. Let's go.
I know, but we already done did. Let's go. Well, I'm ready. I'm leaning. If y'all see me, I'm posted up on this counter like, yo. Seeing he's done. So anyways, I'm...
Set my home. Man, and carry on like some airplane luggage.
What? All right. So welcome to the show.
What up?
I'm Jenny.
I'm the other guy.
Okay. So, Clueless from our last episode evolved into the other guy.
I'm going to have something different next week.
Who's the other guy?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
As if there's like a third entity on the show.
Some days there might be.
Man, look, like we're entrepreneurs, we're living at home, right? That kind of like, I don't know, kind of like seemed obvious, but whatever, just in case, entrepreneurs living at home. And Jenny being like,
living with your mother.
Jenny being the like regimented, let's schedule this in because, shoot, we wouldn't shoot these podcasts and we'd be behind and scrambling and stuff. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do these on Friday between 2 and 5 p.m. We've been doing okay. But another shedding of a layer of corporate America, ladies and gentlemen. I took a nap. And Jay said, let's do this later. So y'all, we are on fire. Maybe we need to record these because right now it's 10:35 p.m. Maybe we need to do this like late night podcast recordings. I don't know why he's going to say, why did you do that voice?
Not with that voice we are.
I know, it was kind of weird. Sometimes the thing I had in my head is not what ended up.
Doesn't play out well, huh?
No.
That sounded so much better in my head. I get it. I understand.
Well, if I would use a different voice, it would have been perfect. Late night!
No. Oh.
Nope, strike two. All right. So let's get into what we're talking about today. We're doing great. So,
Go wait.
Yeah. I just pulled a U. I was like, so what are we talking about? Let me get my paper. You're rubbing off on me, baby. All right. So goal weight. Why focusing on goal weight is derailing your success? Transition. Okay. I'm like trying to think because there's like 100 different ways to start this. Let's just go with my story.
Let's go.
I have secretly been wanting and trying to get to my goal weight of 170 or 175 for probably over 10 years. Let's just get real here. And usually when I'm asked to write down a goal weight, 170 or 175 is the thing I put down. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to lose that 10, 15, 20 pounds. Here we go. And really what 175 means to me is that weight when I was out of college. I was playing a lot of sports. I was super active. I felt really skinny at the time. And what's crazy is if I'm really honest with myself, the pants that I wore when I was 175 and skinny, I can actually fit into now, even though I weigh 190. And I guarantee that it's because my body composition is completely different than it was when I was 20.
Yep.
Whatever, 23, right out of school, 22. I guarantee it. I am likely much more healthy now than I was when I was 22.
Probably.
So the reason we bring up this goal weight, because...
Before you go there, let me ask, you kind of explained it though, but why has that stuck as a goal weight?
You always ask the good questions.
No, that's what I'm here for.
No,
good questions.
Let's see. I think it's because to me at that time, I thought I was skinny and I was super active. And so for me personally, I had never been 190 or over 200, that's where we were when we got married. I was over 200, I was like 210. And I'd never carried or been that weight and never thought I would. And so I think it's a little bit of an identity. And it also reminds me, if I really think about it, is it's like thinking about and dreaming and secretly wishing that I want to be 175. It's almost like I am wanting to be the me from the past versus really focusing and celebrating and enjoying and being grateful for the me of today.
Wow. One of the things I love about this show is we just don't talk about health, fitness, and wellness stuff you see. We kind of go deep into it. And I'm pretty sure other people go deep as well. But for the most part, if you're not in that particular tribe or you don't really stumble upon those people, it's mainly, the workouts and what you should eat. But not a lot of people dig into the mindset, I'm still trying to do this because I still think I'm 23, or I still want to be 23, or I still want to do the things I was able to do at 23 with totally negating the stuff that you're able to do now. And it's a process of growth and evolution because you can't be that person. That person is gone and they're never coming back. That person was who you needed to be at that particular time. But it's we still try to do those things instead of doing the things that will honor and help us grow for the person we are today. Because there's some stuff I look back on and wish I could still do, walking, riding everywhere and one hand pull-ups and doing crazy shit on a pull-up bar. But that was 20 years ago.
Wait, hold on. So here's me playing devil's advocate though, right? Because I'm okay, if you wanted to do those things right now, you very well could. Because there are people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s who can do the one-arm push-ups, riding their bike everywhere. You definitely could do that. So I'm playing devil's advocate because we're talking about having this secret wish to be kind of like how you were. But where does the line, where is it, okay, let go of the past and be who you are today? Because you could do those things. What
would doing those things right now benefit me though? Then it was, hey, I'm this badass trainer. I can do this. You want to work with me because I can do this. And it was kind of an ego thing. I'm this badass who could do this. So it was an ego thing for me doing those things. But now it's I don't have to prove anything to anybody. So it's kind of you see those dudes or those videos of the dudes doing the crazy push-ups, you know what I'm saying? The plyo push-ups down to their forearms to the cross to Superman, and they push up and slap behind their back and then they roll over, and it's this show of, for lack of a better word, athleticism. But it's okay, that looked cool, but what does it really benefit? So that's why I said it's a part of growth and evolution. Because at 20, 23, 25, I was definitely at a different mindset than I'm at 40. Because it's oh, am I going to hang out with my friends and just bust out and say, hey guys, look, I can do a handstand on this barrier right here. If I slip and fall, break a hip or some shit, So what does that benefit? At 20, 25, it was cool. It was ooh, look at me, look at what I can do. But now at 40, It's like being smarter.
Well, it's aligning with your life goals at this point.
Exactly.
Because I feel like that's the thing. I mean, if you still wanted to be able to do the one arm push up and the one arm pull up and whatever, if you wanted to do that, those could definitely be your goals right now. But the intention, the purpose, the drive behind them would be different. Because if it was still about ego, right, or wanting to be like that younger version of you, it's like you have to find something else to drive you because maybe you just want to. It's something fun for you to build your strength and you like the way you feel when you do those kind of exercises and it becomes like a challenge. Because like for me, when I'm playing my sports, I like feeling a certain way when I play the sport. So that's what drives and motivates me to be better. And yes, I want to win and stuff too, but it's like, I think that's the thing. Like you could still maybe have those as goals, but you may have to realign the why, what's driving you behind them.
And some people may agree, disagree, but yeah, you have to realign. And as you get older, things change. Mentally, physically, things change. So
environmentally.
Yeah, all those things change. So even, yes, you could still do those things, but it's going to be more challenging, in my opinion, the older you get because you have to readjust to the way that you train because your body is different. Like the testosterone thing with guys, you had more testosterone younger than you do when you're older. And then like when you get older, certain things kind of matter more. It's less about having the six pack or the chiseled arms because those are just like glamour muscles, but you can still be strong without having to look like a Greek statue. You know, you can still do those things. And it becomes more about, for me, mobility, you know, and flexibility. Because I don't want to be 50, 60, 70 and being one of those dudes walking around having to take 6-inch steps hunched over. So priorities shift. It's kind of like you said, the intention, what's driving you. 20, 23, 25, what drove me was taking my shirt off and having chicks being like, ooh.
I was one of them.
And me being like,
I for sure was one of them.
So yeah, the drive was different then. And now it's like, I don't need to do that. Mainly because I have you, but
good answer.
But I don't need to do that. The drive has shifted to
more longevity, and sustainability.
Well, yeah, definitely longevity and sustainability, and two, how I had to train, and because part of that was training, part of that was teaching, part of that was learning, part of that, all of that, the type of damage I was putting on my body, like, and not realizing.
Right. Yeah, you know, and I think if we go back to the whole how and why, focusing on the goal weight is completely wrecking your results. If you're hearing what we're talking about, it's like, what's the intention behind it? And this goal weight and being obsessed about a goal weight, it's all about shifting your focus. I mean, if you listen to our last episode about breaking up with the scale, we really went in a little bit deeper about shifting your focus because I don't care if you've heard this once or you're going to hear it a million times. One of the things that Jay always talks about is, oh my God, losing weight is a byproduct.
Oh, you're talking about the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Was it icing on the cake or the cherry on top?
Oh, well.
Because I say a lot of profound shit.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, if you do the thing,
and that weight you're going for may not be the best weight.
Right.
And it may not even matter. Honestly, if you feel good, you fit in your clothes good, and you're happy with your energy, honestly, the weight that you are doesn't even matter.
I feel losing weight is such a superficial goal because your weight is going to fluctuate. And after you reach that particular goal, then what?
Well, then it's easy to let up and bounce back and gain it all. On our intake forms, we do ask like what the person's goal weight is. But I think it's always good to have an idea where people are and what their expectations are.
Right.
Because that way we can help them through that process to really realign and redefine what that means to them. Because think about this, right? If your goal is to have a certain amount of energy, mobility, to be able to feel great in your clothes, like if those are your goals, then it becomes a lifelong thing. Because then, like you said, it doesn't end.
Right.
That's the driving force. But if your goal is to hit a certain weight, and honestly, right now at 190, yes, there are some things, because we always talk about this, right? Like you start feeling the back fat.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, I don't like the way that feels. I kind of want something a little bit different. I mean, there can be drivers, and man, I don't know. I'm about to spin off in a different direction so you can pull it back in, but it's kind of like there's a lot of ladies who are always like, oh my God, my arms and my face and my neck, like nitpicking at all these little things on our bodies that we're not happy about. And for me, I want to love my body as is and where I'm at, and focusing on those things, like to me, just brings me down. I don't like the energy of focusing on those things.
I think that's a hard subject.
Yeah.
Because people are already down because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say love yourself and your body where you're at when
there's so many things you don't love about it.
And you go out of your way to dodge the mirrors in your house.
Yeah.
So I get it, but
it's deeper. It's deeper. In the house I grew up in and the family I grew up around, I mean, it definitely comes through like you said, I can't remember if you said it on this episode or a previous one about how maybe it was a seed planted when you were younger by a mom or grandma or whatever, being like, oh, you gaining weight, girl. Like, whoa, what's going on? And I've witnessed my mom and my aunts and all of them, be like, oh my God, I'm so fat. Oh, I hate my face. I hate like just nitpicking at themselves. And I was always like, God, like, stop. Why do you guys say all those things? So, I mean, that's been in me since I was a little kid. I didn't understand why they were always like putting themselves down. So I'm grateful that that's something that I grew up with and definitely can help other people do the same, and get to that point. But
it's hard if you've grown up in an environment where things like that are pointed out
all the time
and there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
But you go around thinking, because even if you're a little kid and your mom says, oh, you're gaining a little weight, you're always going to think that. And then it shifts into, okay, well, I have to do this because I don't want to look a certain way. I've known people say they've quote unquote reached their goal weight. You know what I'm saying? And they still, like, the person on the outside didn't match the person on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Because physically, yes, they lost that weight, but mentally they were still self-conscious about who they were or who other people felt they should be.
Which is why goal weight can be so detrimental and is detrimental to all of your success. Because it's not about the goal weight.
Right.
It's about the confidence that you have in who you are and how you feel. It's about that deeper transformation. I mean, I love hearing the stories about when you were training clients at a gym and your sessions.
Where else would I be training them?
Well, at their home or outside boot camp. I don't know. Like, I was just thinking like the gym ones.
Remember that time you trained the guy in the deli in the grocery store? Yeah, that was a good one.
What? You could have been at his house. Or it could have been anyways. So, no, I just think about like when you said some of the biggest transformations with your clients were the other stuff, the other mental blocks that was keeping them from reaching their goals. The other mental blocks, the other forces of opposition. Like one of our business coaches always talks about the forces of opposition. Like when you're going really hard after a goal, like everything's going to come up and knock you off your path.
Right.
And those other things, those other obstacles, because it's not just, oh, let me do this thing and I'll lose weight. Like there are so many layers there.
Yeah, layers you might not even know, or layers that have been like buried deep. And like they self-consciously or subconsciously rather trigger you.
Right. And sometimes we're not aware of them. And that's part of the journey. That's part of the process. And for sure, that process is not one that you should go alone in, because it can be very lonely going and dealing with those things as they come up and not knowing, like, what is this? Because like we talk about what you're focusing on, the goal weight and everything, and talking about the person you were before versus the person you are now, right? And where your focus is. As we were talking about this, it reminded me of when I started traveling the nation. And I was on airplanes all the time and I was sitting down a lot more. And I was having some major challenges with my glutes, my hamstrings, and everything else being really tight. And I couldn't understand. I was like, what is this? Like, I'm young. What is this? And what did you tell me?
I'm going to need a cheat sheet.
Oh my God. I try to serve him up, but apparently he's off in La La Land. So no, like when you told me, you were like, you have never, because I was always a traveling sales rep, but I was getting in and out of my car all the time.
Right.
I never had a position, a role where I was sitting for that amount of time. And he's like, you're going to have to adjust your shit. You need to put new things into your life to support this new lifestyle.
Right. Because you would be like in the car to the airport, on the airport to a different city, land in the city, get in the car, go to the hotel, look at stuff, go to dinner, eat, go back to the hotel, sleep, get up, go sit somewhere else.
Right. So it was a totally different. And I bring that up because it was almost like I was trying to operate with my old information.
Right.
I was trying to operate in how I knew things had worked in the past for me or for other people. And I was trying to apply those things to my situation, and it was not working.
Right.
All in the meanwhile, secretly wishing I weighed 170. And then honestly, because I already broke up with the scale and I already crushed that shit with a hammer years ago. But especially, you stand on the scale and you just wish magically that the 170 will show up.
Right.
My goal weight, literally, I swear this goal weight has been there for probably like 10 or 15 years. I promise you it's for sure been there. And this is my first time like openly saying it out loud and admitting it, because it is always like the thing in the back of my mind. Ding. I am going to release the goal weight, and I can't wait to see what magic happens, because it probably, most likely, is a huge block energetically in my body.
Yep.
And in my journey of health and fitness, this secret wishing, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to release it. I don't need to weigh 170. If I end up weighing that, cool. It doesn't really matter. You know how many times I've said that? I'm talking about now I'm actually like going to believe it deep down. I'm going to weigh what I weigh as long as I feel good and fit in my clothes well. Transformation. I'm serious. Call me out if y'all hear a little hint of 170 goal weight, because as we said, it's literally derailing your success. Literally. Period. Full stop. Mic drop. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's apparently the end of our podcast. When Jay stops and looks around and goes, hey, it's time to wrap it up.
So don't get caught up on a goal weight. So many other things you can focus on. Focus on how you feel. Know that things are going to change, because that's what life does. And step back, readjust, and realign, and get back in there. Get her done.
Wow. That was really white.
You're welcome.
I guess. Thanks. Just what I asked for. Yay. Friday night treat. Date night. Anyways. All right, guys. Till next time.
Holla.
You can subscribe to the Holistic Life Podcast from your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to check out 2jholla.com to stay in the know as an official 2JH insider. Mahalo for tuning in. And until next time, that's our show.